So this is a guide I wrote about a year back for Stronghold Kingdoms called How to Deal with a Kamikaze Village Jumper. In the following guide, I'll go into detail on how to discourage a Kamikaze Village Jumper from staying in your area and how to mitigate the damage done to yourself and your faction by such players. First off, what is a Kamikaze Village Jumper, you might ask? Oftentimes, it is a player who has no affinity to any house and plays the game to cause the maximum amount of economic destruction and mental anguish possible, most often because he's bored with the game and is looking to go out in a blaze of glory, at your expense, of course. Please note, at the behest of a commenter, I feel compelled to stress the focus of this guide. It is in no way intended to paint legitimate war zone fighters in a disparaging light, as such players are essential to a faction or house's war effort. Now, the vast majority of Kamikaze jumpers play Scorched Earth style. They will jump to a village, use it for all it's worth, and abandon it or allow it to be razed by his enemies. As such, the best method of dealing with Kamikaze jumpers is to keep them above 9 villages at all times. This prevents them from jumping about as fast because villages above 10 command a premium in honor to obtain. Please note, however, that 4th Age changes have removed the base honor cost for 11 plus villages. It is now a one-time cost rather than a recurring one in that particular age. Now on to damage control. How to deal with such a player, then, if he should be kept at 10 villages at all times? The answer lies in the ransacking ability. Hit his villages, and ransack them down to a nub. Pillage his goods. Make it as difficult as possible for him to create an army in that village. Gold raid his parishes and keep your parishes empty. Jumpers rely heavily on parishes as they do not tend to have the time or resources to fill vassals. If a Kamikaze jumper establishes a foothold in your country, it could be devastating to your faction members who aren't all too active. Many less active or new members will be captured as jumpers prefer to target players with castles that can be taken in one hit. Your best bet is to get your faction active and alert them to the danger. Have them all station 360 or more archers on their village walls, no exceptions. Kamikaze jumpers are very dangerous players because they cannot be negotiated with. Do not bother contacting an established Kamikaze jumper, as it will only make you a blip on his radar, and that is the last thing you want. Do not take this lightly. Most of them want you to mail them, beg them to spare you, etc., just to laugh at you later and raise your villages while you are offline at night. There is no negotiating with a Kamikaze jumper, period. He needs to get close to cause damage and will look for inlets into your country. This must be prevented at all costs. Keep an eye on the map. If he times up on a fellow member, you will need to either post-raise or excommunicate that member so the Kamikaze jumper will not be able to establish a foothold in nearby territory. Another thing which should be noted is that Kamikaze jumpers are, more often than not, seasoned pros. They tend to be moderate to heavy carders and may also utilize alts to keep themselves under the 10 village threshold or provide absolution. You should take a proactive stance and diligently watch the map for any assistance pouring in from villages surrounding the Kamikaze jumpers' villages. Once you spot the alt accounts, have your faction or house tag them as enemies and follow the same recipe for removal. Keep them above 9 villages, ransack and pillage, and gold raid their parishes. Ultimately, Kamikaze jumpers cannot be stopped, but you can reduce the potential damage they can do to your faction or house by adhering to the guidelines set above. In conclusion, as a final word of warning, in worlds currently engaged in either the 2nd or 3rd Age, the Kamikaze jumpers will delete the Engineers Siege Guild before moving out of a parish, just to prevent others from using it. Such is the sadistic nature of the Kamikaze village jumper. Thank you for listening, and until next time, farewell.